While some are questioning the shape of the economic recovery from the coronavirus, Morgan Stanley's chief economist, Chetan Ahya, is calling for a quick snapback. And President Trump is a fan of his work. On Monday, the president tweeted a quote from Ahya's weekend note, which said, "We have greater confidence in our call for a V-shaped recovery, given recent upside surprises in growth data and policy action." Chetan joins us right now. And Chetan, we'll get to the tweet in just a moment, but I want to talk just about the work that you're seeing. What do you see out there that convinces you that this is going to be a sharp V-shaped recovery?
Thanks for having me there. So look, I think the most important thing is the approach in terms of framework that we're taking on this recovery. So what we are highlighting is that this will be a shorter recession for three reasons: that this is not an endogenous shock triggered by huge imbalances. If it is because of, large imbalances, because private debt has risen significantly, then it takes much longer. Second is that you're not going to see as much deleveraging pressures as we had seen during GFC. And then finally, the most important thing is policy decisions or policy actions have been decisive, sizable, and we do think that it will be effective. There's skepticism on whether the policy easing will be effective. We think it will be effective. So that's the framework that we have kept in mind. And now we're getting the data, which is confirming that we are recovering quite quickly.
When you think of a V, it's not just a reverse check mark with a sharp bounce back. You have to get back to the other side of the V and realize that you'd be back at levels from pre-coronavirus. When do you think that happens?
So for global economy, Becky, we're expecting that to happen by fourth quarter of this year. And we are seeing a pretty good recovery in Asia, and that is one of the key reasons why it's driving that quick recovery at global level. But for DMs, we are expecting it to happen by fourth quarter of 2021. And I must say that the data that we have seen since we made this forecast is indicating that it could happen earlier.
When you say DMs, I'm assuming you mean developed markets happening by the fourth quarter of 2021. China is the big reason that you have seen this in Asia, that China's economy has come back very quickly. But China did take some pretty extreme steps to try and shut things down, and they have with every new flare-up that they've seen. Do you think the recovery will be different in Europe and the United States just because, we're democratic societies and we haven't taken the same sort of measures?
Well, that is probably one of the reasons for a delayed recovery in U.S. and Europe. But the other thing is that they are also more exposed to services sector, which has been hit most by COVID-19. So, for example, China's manufacturing is 40% of industry, is 40% of GDP. And we know that in the U.S. is much smaller. So that is one other reason why you're going to take longer to come back. But look, just see the developments in Europe. And I think the Northeast states in the U.S. will probably follow the European situation. But I was just observing, Steve was talking about the mobility indicators. But if you look at the transit mobility, which is now my focus in terms of returning back to normalcy, for France and Germany, transit mobility is nearly back to baseline. So we're seeing a pretty good recovery in Europe too. Today we got the retail sales data for UK. That again was a big surprise. So yeah, I think I'm seeing that recovery is broadening out across the world. And what we're seeing lately is those countries which were lagging and those sectors which were lagging are also beginning to recover fast.